I can't believe this. If you thought for a second that the transfer market is crazy, now think about this. United have officially bought Youri Tielemans. Fabrizio Romano have given it his green light. It's a here we go. It's a here we go. I This is coming out of nowhere. I don't think anybody had thought about this before this happened, right? It's a here we go. Youri Tielemans is going to Manchester United. They according to Fabrizio Romano, they just activated the 35 million release clause, which is a 41 million euros. He's officially going to Manchester United. And as an Arsenal fan, I'm happy. I'm celebrating this. I don't know if it's just me, but I am really, really happy at this point because now we know that Aston Villa needs money. They need a lot of money. That midfield is gone, right? Youri Tielemans to Manchester United. It's a here we go. Guys, this basically changes everything, right? It changes everything. Let me just start by saying that for me, from the United standpoint, he is perfect. He is a really, really good midfielder, somebody that is going to help them in a lot of phases, right? From the build up to the attack to the midfield, everywhere, from the build up to the midfield to the attack, he's going to help them do a lot of things. He's going to help them solidify that midfield because he's not a spree chicken. We need to understand this. Youri Tielemans is experienced. He has played a lot of football in his career. I can literally tell you that when he was at Anderlecht, and at that time we had Arsene Wenger, he was at that point, there was a lot of transfer news that he was being linked. He was linked a lot of times with Arsenal before going to Monaco that season, I can remember. But for me, this news really has changed a lot of things. It's changing a lot of things about how Villa move on from here, the effects that he has on us, and that this transfer, Youri Tielemans moving to United, there's a massive effect. It's just going to change everything for us, right? So from him going to United, that midfield is completely different. I know Casemiro left. And it's the news yesterday that broke that United have basically given up, like they given up on Éderson because Éderson was supposed to come from Atalanta a few weeks ago. But if you've been in the transfer market long enough, whenever there's a transfer news, and for some reason there's a green light, for some reason the club have agreed, fees have agreed, and it gets stuck on medical issues. Yesterday, I knew this was not going to happen. Fabrizio Romano even broke out the news that United have pulled out of the signing Éderson. Éderson is not coming to United, so basically the next move for United is just to go and Youri Tielemans. And for me, this move makes more sense because one of the things I was worried about when I heard the news about United signing Éderson. He is just coming from Italian league, from Atlanta. It's completely different. And he doesn't have the experience that the Premier League need. Not that it was going to be necessary because he's played a lot of football as well. He's played a lot of Champions League games and things like that. But Premier League is completely different, right? So I thought that there was going to be an issue. Why? Because for me, when they already have, United already have Domino, they already have and they already had Gatti who got injured. And I think the signing really affect is because Ugarte is injured. That's why they're bringing in Tielemans. And I think it makes perfect sense because even though they were not using Ugarte, they were planning to sell Ugarte, if I'm not mistaken. But now, with Ugarte being out for the entire season, this is just the next thing that they could do. So they, and Andrey Santos was going to be the guy to do that Ugarte replacement, but because Éderson is out of the question now, they're not going to sign Éderson no more. They think, according to United now, according to Fabrizio Romano, United think that Éderson is injured, because he couldn't pass the medical, his medical, so they pull out of the deal. And for me, bringing in Youri Tielemans, it gives them a lot of things that they don't currently have. It gives them leadership in that midfield. It gives them tenacity. It gives them work rate. Like when I mean work rate, somebody that has work rate, it's next level. He gives them fitness. I can't remember the last time Tielemans was injured, right? He gives them fitness level in that midfield that they don't currently have, and it's gonna balance perfectly. Right? It's I'm a little worried about the rest of the teams, the rest of the Premier League, basically, because the way things are shaping out, it's gonna be massive. It's gonna be so much competition, right? If you think about it, Tielemans, Andrey Santos, that they just finally brought in this morning. Finally, I mean, he signed all the documentation, all this paperwork this morning. Andrey Santos coming in to help them out in our midfield as well. They still have Bruno Fernandes. They still have Kobe Mino. They still have this guy from Chelsea, Messi Mount. They still have Messi Mount. So you talk about Messi Mount, Kobe Mino, Bruno Fernandes, Andrey Santos, and Youri Tielemans. That five-man midfield will cause a lot of issues to any team in the Premier League and the Champions League, and they needed that. Especially last season, we're not in the Champions League, right? United were not in the Champions League, so they didn't really have much football to play. But this season, they are in the Champions League. They need to bring in extra midfielders, and they know this, and they've gone in and just done that. Their midfield transfer market is done at this point because now you have five experienced midfielders. The only concern I will have is that Kobe Meno, I don't know how Michael Carrick is going to set up his formation because you know for sure Bruno Fernandes starts. Bruno Fernandes starts up there in the 10, and then you're gonna have what? Kobe Meno and Youri Tielemans. I think that works. But for me, Kobe Mino and Youri Tielemans are pretty much the same. They play the same way. Youri Tielemans is not your typical number six. It's more like your eight, like your 8 and 10. So 6 and 8. So he goes, like your box to box midfielder. He really never sit deep. He plays just like Kobe Mino. He plays from the back. He plays in different little tight position to play the passes forward. So I'm thinking about who is gonna break the plays for them. In my mind, it's just gonna be him and Kobe Mino and Bruno Fernandes ahead of him. What it gives them options. It gives them experience, right? I look at Youri Tielemans. That's a lot of experience. He has played over 500 games. Plays for Monaco, Leicester, Anderlecht, and then coming to Villa, he was one of the best players for Villa. Like Villa, every time he was not in that Aston Villa team last season, even the season before, it's a shambles. It's a problem. They don't have his type of midfielder. I know they're trying to bring in Mozambique, but they are complete. Mozambique's a 10. They need. Listen, from my point of view, this is perfect for United. I'm happy for them, bringing somebody like Tielemans because it's gonna help them out. They still need, for me, bringing another center back. I know they have Euro, but he's still young. Maguire is getting older. I think and that right back Mazarawi, I don't know if he's gonna be the one playing there, but they have Patrick Dogo. It's excellent. I like Patrick Dogo. I'll take him at Arsenal every day of the week. United have options in that area. It's that midfield that was the bigger concern. And now they have fixed that. I think they're good. I don't know if they're going to bring in any more players, but at this point, that midfield is really, really balanced for me. They can make it work as long as they can figure out who's going to be doing that Casemiro job, that number 6 area. Casemiro wasn't so good at passing forward, and that's the difference between Casemiro and Youri Tielemans. Youri Tielemans give them that. He has the ability to pick up passes from anywhere on the pitch. 20, 30, 40 yards. He can finish. He can pass. He can dribble. He's very, very smart. He's a leader. They're bringing in experienced players in to help them in our midfield. Now, the way this affects Villa is huge because we saw Onana picked up an ACL injury, last week. Last week doing in the World Cup game against US, and I think he's out for the season. I don't think Onana is gonna be fit until maybe next season, maybe until late April, March, April, and that's huge for Villa. They need to replace Onana. Mozambique is not Onana. Okay, people just say, "Oh, we bring in." No, he is not Onana. Okay, you would think that that's a replacement for Morgan Rogers, but because Onana is like a 6 and 8, he's their box-to-box midfielder. He's out. Youri Tielemans is out. Who else is there? I know they have Boubacar Kamara, they have a couple of other guys, but they're not the same player. They're build up the way Villa build up. They need Youri Tielemans. They need Onana. You see, these guys play all the time when they are fit. Now they're out of the team. Villa now needs to go bring in someone. They need to bring in another midfielder, at least one or two midfielder to replace those guys. And then where are they going to get the money from? Where are they going to get the money from? They don't have money. FFP is on their neck. You know, the PSI is on their neck. Like it's ridiculous for them at the moment. They're so much under they're under so much pressure. I think they have to bring in money from somewhere, and this leads to only one place, guys, right? And we all know this, Morgan Rogers. I'm 100% certain that Arsenal is gonna try to bring in Morgan Rogers, and at this point, I don't think Villa can say no. They can take that £100 million, and I think that's the amount of money Arsenal will pay. I don't think they'll go over £100 million. I don't think they should, but it still doesn't matter. If they get £100 million for us from Arsenal, from Morgan Rogers, it solves a lot of problems. They can go to France, they can go to Paris and pick up one or two midfielders and bring them in. But from now on, I just think Villa is gonna try to bring in what, two midfielders. They have to. They have to bring in two midfielders. They already have a 10, which I think that's for Morgan Rogers' replacement. He can play on that in that half space and maybe help with the attack, right? And they have McGinn, who's going to be in the other half space. So they do need a number 8, another number 8, and another number 6. So selling Morgan Rogers to us, you know, and they can reinvest that money, it will help them out because they're still in the Champions League. Villa is a massive club. I just don't understand how come they're in so much financial issues and FFP and PSI. I don't like all that stuff, but currently them and Newcastle are the same thing. They are under so much pressure. They don't sign players if they don't sell players. That's how tough it is for them at the moment. So with them selling Morgan Rogers to us, which I think is gonna happen next week, if England continues all the way to the final, then we'll probably have to wait for a couple of weeks. But as soon as that is over, this is gonna get sorted out. It definitely has to, because we can't. Premier League preseason starting 2 weeks for most teams. Most teams are already coming back. So for us Arsenal, we are supposed to be coming back in a week or two to start preseason. Before you know it, Premier League is not far away. Today's the 13th. We're a month away from the Premier League starting. So we need to get prepared at this point, right? Let's go see if we can figure out, you know, this Morgan Rogers deal as soon as the World Cup is over, and then we can move on from there. There's still a couple of things for Arsenal's standpoint, a couple of things that we need to do, you know, figure out what we're going to do with this Bacola thing. And then, of course, there's this Bruno Guimarães saga, which we're going to talk about in another video that I'm going to make in a few minutes. But, guys, I do want to say this United transfer is going to have a massive effect on what Arsenal do with Morgan Rogers going forward. So let's just wait and see. But according to all the big transfer gurus, Fabrizio Romano, David Ornstein, Ben Jacobs, they're all giving it the green light that United have triggered the release clause. Youri Tielemans, a midfielder that I really, really like. I think even in the World Cup, he was incredible. The way he plays for Belgium, his ability on the ball, his deliveries, his crosses, his corner kicks, his free kick. He can smash the ball from anywhere on that field, anywhere. And to think that United are gonna have Tielemans and Bruno Fernandes picking passes, it's gonna be scary, guys. Nobody knew Youri Tielemans has a 35 million release clause in his contract, and I know he's 29. I don't care if he's 29. I really don't care. You need experience. You can't just go around and signing, 20-year-old or 18-year-old because they have potential. No, you need players for the now. If United want to stay in the Champions League, in the top 4 every season from now on, they need a couple of midfielders or strikers or center backs that is going to help them out massively, right? That are ready. Players that are ready, not players that have potential 5 years down the road. Ayub Buwadi and all these guys. No. Yeah. Now, I think this is perfect. You already have Domino. He's still young in there. Andrey Santos is still young. What is 22, 23? Young. So having a 9 years old that I've seen it all, playing in multiple leagues, score goals, can defend, can pass. He's a leader. It's perfect. It actually fixed their midfield. So my only bigger issue right now is how long do we have to wait for Morgan Rogers to go through? Because Villa at this point cannot wait to see how much Arsenal will bring, to see how they can get this done, because they need the money, right? They need the money. So, guys, again, that's the news this morning. United have activated the release clause for Youri Tielemans, which is £35 million. I did not know that he had that release clause of £35 million. Believe it or not, if a lot of club knew this, they probably would have bought Youri Tielemans already. £35 million. He's going to be playing in the Champions League. He's going to be playing for a bigger club. Villa, no disrespect to Villa, but United is just United, right? Massive, okay? The biggest club in global football. So, and he's going to be there playing for a younger coach, Michael Carrick. I like Carrick a lot, right? But for me, this deal makes sense for United. It makes sense for Villa. I mean, there's nothing they can do, right? There's nothing they can do. So for United, this is perfect. Now for Arsenal, we will see how this affects the Morgan Rogers deal, and I cannot wait. So guys, that's the news. We are gonna try to to do as many videos as possible within the next day or two, just to keep up with the transfer news. And of course, we'll talk about the World Cup later on. But if you're new here, guys, please don't forget to subscribe and like and leave me a comment. Is this United deal for Youri Tielemans solidify them as what? The top 2, top 3? How much of an impact will this have on Aston Villa trying to keep Morgan Rogers? Which I don't think they will, but let me know down in the comment. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye.